I thought it would be a fun challenge to reproduce Van Gogh's Starry Night using a set of Giotto oil pastels, and I'll leave a link to it in the description. With only 12 colors, I had to think very carefully about how to achieve the different hues. But at the same time, this approach was very appropriate for the Impressionist style, because one of the main visual techniques Impressionists used was to place small, thin, distinct brushstrokes of color near each other. And by placing the colors side by side, with as little mixing as possible, they employed the technique of simultaneous contrast to make the color appear more vivid to the viewer. Impressionists typically avoided grays and dark tones by mixing complementary colors, but I did resort to using a small bit of black when painting the cypress trees. My workhorse for this piece was the light blue. As it is Starry Night, most of the scene is the sky, and so the light blue gave me the flexibility to then go into a darker color by adding in the cobalt blue and a little bit of purple, or going lighter with mixing in white. For the most part, I'm moving from the left to right of this painting. Being right-handed, I didn't want to smudge so much, but early on I realized it would be helpful to draw the cypress first. That way, I'd be able to use the primarily vertical strokes to block out the shape of the tree, and then use that shape as a boundary for the wavy horizontal lines in the sky. Throughout the piece, I used the following technique to achieve the color effects. First, I would lay down the color that would function as the base color for the area. Then, I would add strokes of other colors to add richness and to shift the overall color to match closer what I saw in Van Gogh's painting. Lastly, I would go over the area with a heavy pressure of a lighter color to lessen the rough texture left by the oil pastels, blend it together into a more smooth appearance. So for example, the lighter areas of the sky, I would apply the light blue oil pastel as my base color with a very soft pressure, so that the white I added later would dominate as it pulled the blue and other small strokes of colors together. For the darker sky areas, I would put more pressure on the light blue oil pastel so that the white would have less effect in that area when I mixed it. And then for the darkest areas of the sky, I would actually start with the cobalt blue as the base color and then mix with the light blue to blend the strokes. Stroke direction was also very important because in that way I was able to represent the directions of the sky and the swirling effects of the clouds. The most challenging area that I had was the village scene at the lower right of the picture, because over there we have very small details, and these oil pastels are 11 millimeters in diameter, so quite thick. I used the edge of the oil pastels primarily to get the borders of the houses, but representing all the little houses and details was quite a challenge. The most fun for me was the moon, and I created that amber color by laying a base color of yellow and then adding flesh pink and yellow ochre, and then blending them all together with the yellow. The one effect that was most challenging for me to recreate was the white accents, particularly those around the stars. The reason for this is that the white oil pastel doesn't opaquely lay on top of the other colors, but functions more as a way of blending the underlying colors together. It does give a small tint and lightening effect, so I took that into consideration when it came to the darker areas of the painting and opted for other colors to blend, such as emerald green, to blend in the brown for the cypress tree, and the light blue for the darker sky areas. Overall, I think the result was quite good. I'm curious to know what you think, so let me know in the comments below. I'd also love to hear your suggestions for other paintings you'd like me to do.